a lot better. Because, like I said, these are the original stories that we pretty much started with, and it's like, yeah.
Oh, well, interesting question then.
Yeah, okay.
When it comes to graphic novels changing into movies and TV shows changing into movies, which one would you say you would allow more changes from? Because you have to be surprised.
Right. Yeah.
So what? Okay, better yet. What's the difference in the changes being made for a movie that makes it okay, but then the changes happen in the TV show and it's not okay? Like, what's the difference?
You got there.
I mean, because at the end of the day, you want to be surprised.
Yeah,
correct?
it is.
But you also want them to stay true to the source material, which you already know, so you wouldn't be surprised. So what's the difference? What changes?
Yeah, you got him on that one, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I
think it's just. I think the books just build your expectations.
Yeah.
But again, I see what he's saying as a fan. It's like,
I'm not trying to grill you. I'm not getting on you.
like I see what he's saying as a fan. It's like you read this and you kind of like expecting to see, ooh, this is gonna happen. But then again, it comes into what she's saying. Then it takes the surprise out of the show.
Yeah.
You know, it's like then there's no unexpectedness out of it. You know everything's gonna happen. So that's why they do, what they do to switch things around a bit, keep you watching, keep you guessing. Because whether they infuriate you or they make you curious, you're gonna watch now because now you want to know where they're going. You know what I mean? So it's like I could see both points of view.
Like I said, I'm not doing this in a harsh way. It's just we're like in some of the movies that we've talked about how there were small changes, but the movie was still just as great as the book. So I mean, what my main question is, what makes for an acceptable change and what makes for an unacceptable change? That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not being mean.
No, but I said you are. I think it's just, at the end of the day, when you're writing television versus a movie, when you're writing a movie, there's an end game. Whereas you're doing a television series, you're looking at potentially keeping this show going. And that's obviously what to do with The Walking Dead. Like, how long can we keep this going? So, how do we alter this story? How long can we make this portion of the story run? And so forth and so on. So, it more so has to do, I think, with how far they're looking to go with something. And everything like that. Movies are based on what's it going to make in the box office. And then that's it.
Yeah.
That garners whether it's going to have a sequel or not. And then it's like X amount of time before you see another sequel, if there's a sequel for that movie. Versus a TV show is they have to try to keep the series running, so they have to create these storylines that to pull in continuous ratings. But if they're not pulling the ratings, of course the show stops. But to keep the ratings going, they got to keep either people curious in a positive way, or fans like Spike or anything like that, keep them curious in a negative way where like they do piss them off, but like they still can't stop watching because like fuck, I can't stop watching now because I want to see where they're taking this now. They changed this. I got to see where they take this now.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like you've rewritten history in a sense.
But at the end of the day, they still come around to where the route is going from the comics,
but
in a different way.
Exactly, and that's the point. Like you go, oh, okay, they took me back there, but they still took you on a different ride.
Yes.
Yeah. That's all it is. Interesting. Definitely.
I'm just curious. I mean, via the feedback, like Jose Nieves, he said it's all about, tone. Like I really can't tell too much. Danielle, I love you. I can't tell too much if you think the books are better and you don't like what they do with the series.
Not at first, but now I'm okay to accept the little changes. But
because for example, Danielle goes, the books, while in black and white, are more stylized and driven.
Yes.
You can tell emotion, you feel the characters, you think about what's going to happen next, and the difference is relating to what you've seen in the original source material. I understand the comparisons. Trust me, I do. I read I watch. That's why I do the comparisons also. But again, it's like, for example, okay, Watchmen, like I said, the ending was completely changed from the book.
Right.
I was expecting a squid. I didn't get a squid. Okay? I got something entirely different.
But made sense for the movie.
But it made sense for the movie, and it still kept me surprised.
Mm-hmm.
And that's perfectly acceptable. Whereas, when it comes to The Walking Dead being the biggest example, when things deviate from its source material, but they still come back around, there just seems to be so much backlash about it. And so much, as Danielle often says, the book being better. But what makes what they're doing unacceptable, while the changes in the movies are?
Mm-hmm.
That's my question. I mean, I understand people are trying to explain it all to me, but in the same right, it's like maybe it's just my writer point of view. I'm just sitting here thinking, but if it comes back around to what it is, and you're still on your toes, then what's so unacceptable?
I think in a sense where when it's a movie, it's kind of like when it's a movie, it's kind of like a one night stand. It's in a sense where it's like it's one and done. You sat there, it deviated, but you saw the conclusion all in one sitting, and it's over. And you could either choose to get in the shower and scrub yourself and go why about it, or you can, sometimes you could lay there and accept it and go, okay, that just happened. in the one night stand sense. Whereas the when it's a television series, it's not over in one shot.
Yeah.
You have to wait either 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or however long they decide to drag this story arc out. And it's almost like you're in a bad relationship you can't get out of, and you want to quit it, and you know it's bad for you, but it's like, damn it, but at the end of the day, sometimes the sex is good. And you just stick with it. If any of that makes a little bit more sense to you.
I guess so. I guess.
You know what I mean? Well, again, the movie, there's instant gratification, whether it's positive or negative. You sat through the journey, it's there, it's over. Period. The show hooks you in, and it's like you wait week to week now, and it has time to marinate and fester inside you, all your grievances of what they've done. You have more time to verbalize it. You have more time to digest what they've done.
Yeah.
And let it fester inside you, and then you finally sit down almost angrily go, all right, let's see what you guys fucked up now, you know what I mean? But it keeps you watching. Whereas again, a movie is you sat through there and it's done. It's over. And you can complain about it because you've already seen the ending. Whereas a show keeps you coming and you have no choice. If you want to know how this ends, I gotta keep fucking watching.
Apparently this has become a huge conversation now. Danielle, people want what they're accustomed to. When it deviates, even though it all comes back, it's just not accepted. People don't like change.
Yeah.
Jose, very few people dig change. When it ends, you feel good. You scream in joy when the bad guy finally gets it in The Walking Dead. And again, I understand. Yes, you guys don't like change, but this. Again, what I'm saying is,
why is it not acceptable?
Is it unacceptable when it comes to TV?
I think it's just because it's longer. It's a longer ride. If it's a movie, you can complain about it and it's over in one sitting. But if it's you just...
Case in point. Days of Future Past. Okay. This movie was nothing like the graphic novel.
Oh, at all.
Nothing at all. And everybody accepted it. Those who have read the comic, while bitching a little bit here and there, have accepted it. Yes, this is now part of our X-Men franchise. What the fuck?
Because people saw the whole thing. See, Walking Dead is ongoing. So you're still taking the ride. Again, whereas a movie has a beginning, middle, and end all in one sitting. A television series like The Walking Dead keeps going and keeps you watching. You're not getting that ending. So that's why people are still mad, because they haven't reached that ending to get that, not satisfaction, but closure. Whether it's a negative closure or a bad closure, the point is there is no closure because the story keeps going. If you sit there and watch a movie, it's over. You know how it ended.
See, I mean, maybe that's where I differ, because I see it opposite-wise. I see it as in Days of Future Past still bugs the fuck out of me because it's over and there's no way to go back and fix it. Whereas Walking Dead, if they're deviating, I know they're going to come back around, so it's cool.
Yeah.
Like, that makes it... Okay, that makes more sense as to how I'm trying to say it. Because, like I said, Days of Future Past, it's not like the graphic novel. It's a one and done. It's over. And it bothers me that it is over because you can't deviate a timeline, go back and fix it to how it was. Whereas Walking Dead, yes, they're straying here and there, but you know it's going to come back around and fix itself to where it is in the graphic novel.
Yeah.
So I think that's maybe why I'm not understanding it, because I'm seeing it from the opposite side.
Exactly. Like I said, the only way I can kind of describe it or give the example again is the date versus a bad relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one night stand, it's over. Like the movie. The movie is the one night stand. The series is the bad relationship you can't get out of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I see it from the other point of view.
Right.
All right, fine.
Anyway,
all right. Well, we'll hit up one more because we are running.
we're already late, so.
But and this is a good thing. Luckily, we have the time
I
for
think
this.
this will garner definitely a part 2. We could definitely do a part 2 with this that'll attach to the TV series.
Yes.
I think we'll save the list of the remainder and then attach this to part 2 because this subject turned out to be a lot heavier than they thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it definitely
And it's
did.
been definitely one of the more fun ones we've had. This is like really good. Like, we always look for these fun shows versus these conversation pieces, but this conversation piece actually turned out to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it did. You know what? We will... Based on all the infighting and different points of views we're all having, let's end this with Civil War. How is that for a motherfucking segue?
Well, we can't judge too much because we haven't watched the movie.
Not entirely, but however, we do
know
know
enough. We know enough.
Yes.
Based on the movies.
Yes.
Sadly, that obviously there's a lot of writing altering because of copyrights.
Yes.
The inclusion of the X-Men is not there. The inclusion of the Fantastic Four, especially Reed Richards, is not there, which was a heavily needed character.
Yes.
If you're going the actual Civil War route,
Yes.
Reed Richards is very, very important to it. Some of the X-Men, like Wolverine or anything like that, of course, are integral to it as well, but not as much as Reed Richards. So, unfortunately, these are roles that were omitted and changed the story. The basis is there of what they wanted. The two opposing views and everything like that. But it's just, I think the book definitely works better because they have the inclusion of all these characters that made that story.
Yeah.
So when you go and you watch the movie, knowing that there's just pieces missing.
Huge
from
pieces.
it. There's a lot of huge pieces missing.
Oh, yeah.
To the point where it's like, it's kind of like Infinity War coming up.
Uh-huh.
It's such a big story arc that they're planning 2 movies.
Uh-huh.
Civil War, if you're going to do it right, wasn't something you can plot into one movie.
Absolutely not.
This was something they could have done as a 2, maybe even 3-parter.
Oh, yeah.
Before going into Infinity War.
Uh-huh.
Even though in the world of comic books, obviously Infinity War was well before Civil War
Uh-huh.
and everything like that, but obviously the scope of the cinematic universe, you know why they're going Infinity War afterwards, because they wanted to build this whole universe for this big thing first. And that's understandable why they're doing it that way. But in terms of just talking about Civil War, again, I don't think it was a story arc. It upset a lot of people, again, because the story arc was missing a lot of pieces of the puzzle. You only got a fragment of the picture of what they were doing in Civil War. And again, it's such a big story arc that it garnered a multi-part movie. Cramming it all in one was just too much. Plus, there was a lot of things that it was just wrong.
Yeah.
Bucky is once Captain America is way too strong, but Spider-Man's always been stronger than Captain America in terms of power. Because of his abilities. And the strength tables were totally inaccurate. Which, because the thing is, a coworker of mine, Mario, he's a security guard at my job site. He goes into this conversation every time. He goes, Cap was never stronger than Spider-Man, but yet Spider-Man's having a hard time with Bucky. How is that possible? It's just like, they made Bucky stronger than Cap, but they made Spider-Man stronger than Cap. It's like, how does that work? And then, Captain America holding a helicopter and all that stuff. He can't do that. Spider-Man can do that. Cap can't do that. There was a lot of that. But more so, just in terms of the story, again, Civil War, the books, was an amazing piece of writing because it involves so much.
Yeah.